Hey guys, it's Kevin here. So today we're going to talk about 5 ways that you might be able to tell if you are struggling with overwhelm. Overwhelm can be something that can kind of sneak up on you, and sometimes it's that kind of icky feeling where you're like, is this what overwhelm feels like? I maybe have never experienced anything other than overwhelm. It can be quite similar to stress. If you're trying to get anything done in life, and especially if you're easily distracted, which all of us are finding it harder and harder to not get distracted in life unless you're prioritizing things to get done, one thing after the other. People, other people's plans, just a whole host of things, and then not to mention your own. In this world where advertising is bombarding us from everywhere, technology is trying to get our attention, social media, aspirations, plans, goals, anything and everything that you're trying to get done in life. Well, it's a lot of stuff to contend with, and so overwhelm and stress as well are things that all come in a nutshell as part of daily living a lot of the time. And some people feel overwhelmed more or less than others, but you know, we all kind of experience it. It's something that's going to get in the way, or typically often does get in the way of you actually achieving your goals. You might be feeling overwhelmed because you got this thing you want to get done, that thing you want to get done. And what do you end up getting done? Quite often, none of it. So today I'm going to talk about some ways that you might be able to tell if you are actually feeling that. And the reason that that could be important is because you might be able to do something about it. If you're trying to get to any destination, you want to first see where you're at in life. And if you're at a place of feeling overwhelmed on a daily and regular basis, it'd be good to know that, because with that often comes a lot of stress and lack of outlets to actually do something about it. Recognize that pattern and then get yourself out of that and moving towards your goals, as well as towards better mindset and lower degree of stress and to a better place. So key area number 1, physical symptoms. How are you feeling? Are you getting enough sleep? Finding yourself with a lot of tightness, stiffness in your neck, a lot of tension up in your shoulders, nausea? Are you feeling you get digestive issues? A lot of this stuff can manifest physically in different ways. Or maybe you've noticed that it's a particularly heavy period and season of work that you're going through, and in those peak seasons you find yourself struggling a little bit more in the way of physical ailments. Am I feeling tight? Am I feeling relaxed? Do I find myself clenching my teeth when I'm sleeping, when I'm awake? It could be a good indication that you're feeling quite a lot of pressure. We can all feel overwhelmed, whether we're at work, whether we're not at work, whether we're studying, doing some gardening. That could actually be quite relaxing. Actually, I'd probably find gardening I don't really like gardening. How about sleep disturbances? Are you finding yourself having insomnia or oversleeping? Are you having fatigue, feeling unusually tired despite adequate rest? I mean, these are all indications that maybe your plate is a little bit full. Then this might be an indication that you are experiencing overwhelm and stress. You know, it might encourage you to monitor any recurring physical discomfort and consider relaxation techniques like deep breathing. If you can afford it, get a massage yourself, just have a stretch, get out a yoga mat, get on the floor, just start stretching. You know, it can feel good to just get used to just getting floppy with it, you know, just have a good, you know, do one of these, other side, over the, you know, we used to do this in martial arts training. So there's all kind of movements that you could do, and I might encourage you to search a video on stretching techniques if you haven't really done much of them before. You know, just any and every ways that you can work out kinks or stretch the body is going to help detangle some of these knots. Just it would be good for your health in general, get you more limber, but also just literally it's helping to unwind some of these knots and tensions in your body. A very interesting experience that Mr. David Goggins, an amazing triathlete, Navy SEAL, Army Ranger, an incredibly high performance individual that's very inspiring to many. Stretching basically saved his life. We'll get onto that on another video, and then you can stick around and, you know, that'll be good. So key area number 2, emotional changes. Are you feeling irritable, impatient, angry? These are the smallest things you find. Just you stub your toe and suddenly this ball of rage. Gosh, darn it, dag nap it. Could be an indication that the floodgates are just waiting to pour out all this emotion, and quite often it can come out as anger, because to some level it's probably been repressed and building up. Most people are very good at just maintaining chill level and operating in this world. A lot of people don't really have that outlet of stress relief or do enough to actually enjoy life. Shockingly high number of people that don't really have job satisfaction, don't really enjoy what they're doing for a living. And that's not really a natural state to be. What is the result of that? I mean, sure, we get by, but we do things to compensate, right? Whether it's having vices, food, whether it's going out with friends, partying at the weekend, sport, going on hikes, whatever you do to try to find that work-life balance and hopefully those things bring some stress relief and everything. But a lot of people don't have those outlets, or may have destructive or not so healthy outlets that they rely on for their stress relief. Are you recognizing you have feelings of dread, anxiety, hopelessness? A lot of people feel anxious, in day-to-day life. They can't really put their finger on why. They just kind of feel it. Funny enough, I actually get that a little bit with coffee. We're chemical beings, we're electrical beings, we're water beings, we're very reactive to our environment. It actually makes me feel a little bit like, what's that? So, coffee aside, do you cry easily or experience mood swings? These are indications as well that maybe, perhaps you're just underneath the surface, feeling a little bit on edge, like you could just burst out into tears at any moment. That's probably a good sign there's something lurking there, maybe of a block, and all it takes is just that little turn of the key, like even a advert of a chocolate bar being shared between a grandson and his granddad in the park while looking at birds flying. They're sharing a moment. Moving on. Key identifier number 3, we have behavioral patterns, procrastination or avoiding responsibilities altogether. Are you finding yourself just kind of wanting to sleep all day, stay up all night? Is that your coping mechanism? Are you finding it difficult to find regularity in your life? Going to sleep at like 4 or 5 in the morning, playing video games, whatever. It's kind of a dumb thing. Getting up like 12, 1 in the afternoon. Do you find yourself avoiding good habits that you've been trying to build? Are you finding yourself wanting to just go for your vices and not get anything really productive done at all? Any behavioral changes in general, and you're kind of thinking to yourself, this isn't really like me. This is something that I've not really experienced before. It's not like me to not go to football. I normally really enjoy that. Or you're just kind of turning in a little bit and finding yourself withdrawing, not really wanting to face things, deal with stuff, wanting to do anything socially. Well, it could be an indication that you're feeling a bit of overwhelm, because we live in a very bright, active, and social world, although things have gone more online and social media has become a thing, especially during these periods. You might find yourself a little bit more comfortable in your own space and withdrawing. And if you've got a lot on your plate, a lot of things you're dealing with, and you're feeling like just too much is going on, you've got too much stimuli going on around you, you might struggle to want to go out for a social gathering, and maybe even hanging out with one friend is a bit too much, and you just want to completely unplug and lie on the couch or go lie under a rock and just disappear from the world. That could be a good indication that you're maybe feeling a little bit overwhelmed. Key identifier number 4. How about any cognitive challenges, negative thought patterns that just keep repeating themselves, finding it hard to concentrate, finding yourself just kind of inflating problems to much bigger than they actually are? When you're having some negative kind of thought patterns going on, you can actually find yourself just blowing things up way out of proportion. You might find it hard to get off that track sometimes. And if you get into that negative state of mind, you're just going to keep attracting some more negative thoughts to yourself and just repeating that cycle and finding it hard to escape that loop. What can be a good way of actually overcoming that is snapping out of that mindset by mixing things up, going for a walk. I'll do another video on coping mechanisms to actually help get over negative cycles and negative thinking. Some tips for helping to overcome overwhelm that has to do cognitively is simplifying things right down. So if you're finding yourself overwhelmed and as a result of that, not really getting much done, and then that just pulls you into a negative state, and then you start thinking, well, I didn't do that thing that I tried to get done. And if I'd done that, I might have managed to get to that place this year. And if I didn't do that thing like 3 years ago, I failed that exam in school. Life. You're digging yourself deeper and deeper. And before you know it, what a pain in the butt it all is. So what do we do when we're in those situations? We just bring everything completely back, zoom out, just start small. What is one thing you could do? Because believe it or not, that one thing is going to help you break that pattern and start to feel better. A bunch of boxes with a to-do list. Every time you tick one of those boxes off, it's going to create a feedback loop and a little dopamine hit and a chemical release in your brain that's going to make you feel good about having got that one little thing done. And it could be as simple as just vacuuming, or taking the vacuum out and putting it out with the intention of the next thing you'll do the next day is to actually use it. You know, it could be as simple as opening the door to the vacuum, because part of the thing that can be overwhelming mentally is when you think of all the things you need to do. One of the things that might stress you out about the thought of a new job is once you actually start, are you going to find people that you get on well with? Are they going to like you? Are you going to like them? How much workload is going to be? What's all your responsibilities? And it's just like, oh, I'm thinking about all this stuff, and you're just blowing it way out of proportion. It's like, well, what's the one thing you need to do before you can even start thinking about that stuff? You need to probably start working on your CV and actually applying to something. So let's just start there. Start small, because as we know, there's nothing to fear but fear itself, and we're not called to be fearful. We are called to be courageous and trust that things are going to go good. When you actually step out, you go into that workplace, things will be fine, you know. It might not be, but you know, it probably will be. I should probably edit that out. You'll go in there and you're going to be realizing, what was the big deal? What was I worried about? It's nothing. It's lovely here. Let me get trained up. At first, it's overwhelming, just like when you're learning to drive or learning any new skill. It's a lot of information and you're using a lot of cognitive brain power, but you absorb it bit by bit. And before you know it, you're off to the races and it becomes second nature, you know, doing whatever it is that you're doing in that job. So you just want to simplify things cognitively and just bring things home. You know, focus on one little thing at a time. Just like climbing a big mountain, how do you get there? With a bunch of steps. And it always starts with just one little step. And key indicator number 5 is overreacting to certain situations. Taking on too much can lead to disproportionate reactions, such as minor stressors. Example, panicking over misplaced keys, can't find your jacket and you get really annoyed and nothing's going to plan. Any situation really, you might snap at someone. Feeling paralyzed and unable to function due to a freeze response perhaps. If you're finding yourself in this kind of situation where you're just struggling to actually keep your cool in some situations, it could be because there's a big level of underlying overwhelm and stress that you're experiencing. If this is the case, maybe you have taken on too much and you need to downsize your list of responsibilities you've actually taken. Are there any other areas where you can actually delegate some of your workload, someone that can help out, whether it's in the workplace or at home? Do you need to learn to say no on occasion? Key takeaways from this short video: some actionable things that you can do to implement immediately. Just take small steps towards organization. Start by writing down everything on your mind. Get it out, get it onto paper. That could actually help you instead of just having it all up there, just kind of swirling around in this ball of creativity and chaotic ideas, no structure. It could help to actually just get it out onto paper, or at least just start writing down the things you want to get done. Get it from here to there, kind of like your RAM on a computer, like the bridge between the hard drive being where most of your data is and actually applying it into day-to-day stuff. Just putting it on the paper, freeing up your RAM, so to speak. Get it out of your head. Mindfulness, a little bit of meditation. You're not actually sitting there thinking about stuff. Your brain can kind of relax and just be present in the moment, in that space. Because when you're awake and doing stuff, your brain can be quite active. When you're asleep, technically your brain can be quite active. But when you're meditating, you're actually trying to just not think about anything and giving your brain that kind of chance to kind of recharge in a different way. And if a thought comes, just let it pass. Move your body, physical activity. Absolutely fantastic. They say that exercising is even better than antidepressant studies have found, and that's just incredible. Not only are you getting the benefits of the workout itself, but you're also getting those endorphins and that feel-good factor from actual workout, as well as longer-term benefits such as building muscle and working off steam. But you're also not getting the side effects that can be associated with some things such as medication, antidepressants, that kind of thing. So physical activity, absolutely fantastic. I really enjoy sport, swimming, walks, cycling, tennis, football, basketball, whatever you enjoy. This could help bring a lot of stress relief into your life and combat some of the downsides of some of the overwhelm that you might be experiencing in your life. Set some boundaries, learn to say no, value your own time, go to events or social events or do things that, you know what, when we're honest with ourselves, we might rather not do, might rather put it towards the things that are gonna bring a little bit more balance to our own lives or help us achieve our own goals. Learning to say no, it can almost be a skill, because sometimes you just kind of say yes too much. So is that something you're doing? Have a think. Let go of perfectionism, focus on completing tasks rather than doing them perfectly. Progress is better than paralysis. So progress, not perfection. You can finish that painting and define it as perfect. Why is it not? You don't want to get to the point where you never ever release that painting or publish that book just because you don't think it's perfect. It's good to strive for good things, but you don't want to aim for perfection to the extent of shooting yourself in the foot and never getting anything done. One extreme would be never getting your book finished. Another would be taking your whole lifetime. Another could be, well, you know what? I want to take 6 months to write my book, and I don't want to not release it because I don't think it's 100%. How about 99%? How about 98%? And go for it. And another takeaway, connect with others. Sometimes just talking about what's bothering you with a trusted friend or family member can provide relief and perspective. Do you have a friend? Studies have found that we're feeling a little bit more cut off than we did in previous decades. So do you fall in that camp? Do you have some good friends? We're social creatures, and it's important to have pals that we can confide in, that can help us with some of our own struggles. It's a give and take, and sometimes you just want to hang out, you want to have fun, you want to go to the movies or go for a walk together, have a laugh, or maybe cry, talk about stuff that you're going through, or brainstorm. You want to start a business or you're thinking about an idea. Iron sharpens iron, and that can be a good outlet as well. Just going hanging out with a friend, that can bring a lot of stress relief. So I'm going to conclude the video there. Thank you so much for listening and sticking with me until the end. I'm going to make some more videos about some other topics, including going a little bit more in depth into some of the ways to actually bring some stress relief and combat overwhelm in your life so that you can achieve the goals that you want to a lot better, a lot faster, and with a lot more ease. All right, so thank you so much. Take care, and I'll catch you soon.